The views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal, and do not reflect the views of any organization. Hello and welcome friends once again to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Now, May 3rd, 2023 is a day which journalist Hoinhu Hauzel and her family will never forget. On that fateful night, an armed group entered a residential colony in Imphal and burned down over 30 homes, all belonging to the Kuki-Zomis community. Hoinhu's elderly parents had to flee as their homes were razed to the ground. The burnt remains included precious books. Hoinhu's father is an academic who has written extensively on the tribes of Manipur. That only tribal homes and churches were targeted while Meitei-owned houses in the neighborhood were untouched. In other parts of the state, the same arson was enacted by mobs on Meitei properties is glaring evidence of Manipur's vicious cycle of ethnic violence, which has seen more than 125 people killed and thousands displaced across communities over the last 2 months. What makes Hoinhu's case even more terrifying is the fact that her Imphal home is barely 10 minutes away from the Chief Minister's residence. Targeted violence driven by the weaponization of fear and hate, my friends, is not new in this country. Delhi 1984, Mumbai 1992-93, Gujarat 2002, Muzaffarnagar 2012. The contemporary list is long and bloody. Now we can add Manipur 2023 to this gory history. The only difference is that while the other instances shook the collective conscience of the nation and provoked much outrage, Manipur sadly has almost fallen off the map. This is as much due to the tyranny of distance that has haunted the Northeast. Do Assam floods, for example, ever make the national headlines? As it has to do with the harsh reality of the news cycle. When the first wave of violence struck Manipur in early May, after an ill-advised court order called for Meiteis to be granted scheduled tribe status, India's political class was tied up in the heat and dust of a high-stakes Karnataka election. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah were crisscrossing the election-bound state, as indeed was the Congress leadership. Potential electoral gains from a rousing Jai Bajrangbali war cry seem to be far more alluring to our political class than acting swiftly to stop the Manipur violence. Karnataka is, after all, a resource-rich state with 28 MPs. Manipur is a relatively impoverished state with just 2 Lok Sabha MPs. Home Minister Amit Shah finally went to Manipur on the 28th of May for a 3-day visit, almost 4 weeks after the first fires were lit. That his visit was followed by even more violence, including the burning down of the homes of elected representatives, suggests that the Home Minister's intervention was a case of too little, too late. The volcano, my friends, had erupted. The lava was flowing. Even more pertinent in a way is the role of Chief Minister Biren Singh, who appears at the moment not just helpless but at times openly partisan in handling this ethnic conflict. Instead of reassuring all citizens, and I repeat, all citizens caught in the crossfire, the Chief Minister was seen to be stoking Meitei anxieties by blaming Kuki militants for the spiraling violence. In a press conference on the 28th of May, Biren Singh brands 40 Kuki militants as terrorists and said they were killed by the army, even linking the violence to illegal immigrants from Myanmar and to drug money from poppy-growing tribal lands which he said were at the heart of the violence. Well, it later turns out that the 40 people had not been killed by the army. While blaming the Kukis, the chief minister carefully avoided singling out the Arambai Tengol and the Meitei Lipun, the two radical Meitei vigilante groups who are accused by most observers of spearheading the targeted attacks on tribal homes in Imphal. As the history of such violent conflicts has shown, the complicity or incompetence or both of the state administration is often the key to the bloodletting. Let me repeat that. The complicity or incompetence or both of the state administration is often the key to the bloodletting. In Manipur, a state police that appears divided along ethnic lines raises big question marks over its ability to enforce law and order. I had said this before on Straight Bat, but it needs to be reiterated again. An official assessment by the state police headquarters in end May reveals that at least 500,000 bullets, including mortars, and 3,500 guns were reportedly stolen from the state armories and police stations in the Imphal Valley. In any other part of the country, this brazen loot of arms would be seen as an act of high treason, one that would result in, if not the dismissal of the state government, but at the very least, stringent action against the culprits and a measure of accountability. So I ask the question, where does the buck stop? The state government would be the obvious answer. Last year, Biren Singh returned to power with a massive majority on the claim that he had brought peace to an unsettled land whose complex history of tribal conflict over identity and land rights has often made it difficult to govern. But having made peace the calling card, can the chief minister now absolve himself of his failure to protect the lives and livelihoods of the citizens over an extended period? Why was so little attempt made to disarm the various militias who were fanning the fires across the state until the army and paramilitary forces finally moved in to provide some hope and relief? Just as the state government has much to answer, so does the centre. The BJP's Manipur model of governance, and indeed across the northeast states, is premised on the much touted double engine concept, one that appears to build on a center state patron client relationship, ensuring effective and stable governance, or so the BJP tells us. The violence in Manipur sadly threatens that center state compact and exposes the limits of a double engine political model which seeks power at all costs. Recall that in 2017, the BJP came to power in Manipur with a mini Operation Lotus, even though the Congress was the single largest party and was just short of a majority. Moreover, when the ideological battle lines are posed by the government's cheerleaders in stark religious terms as majority Hindu Meiteis versus minority Christian tribals, then there is a great danger of a further sharpening of identity politics being pushed to the point of no return. In the circumstances, what Manipur really needs is a healing touch, where the state fulfills its constitutional mandate and isn't seen to be fiercely aligned to one side or the other. If FIRs aren't filed speedily and those responsible for the violence get away scot-free, remember the army was forced to release 12 Meitei militants last week after being encircled by a large women-led group of Meitei Paibis or women of Manipur or mothers of Manipur, then the sense of injustice will remain a festering wound. An all-party meeting was convened last weekend by Home Minister Shah in Delhi, 55 days after the violence. It seems almost like an empty ritual if it is not followed up by a genuine attempt at reconciling differences on the ground. In a sense, Manipur today is Home Minister Amit Shah's biggest security challenge since he took over as the Home Minister of the country in 2019. Can Mr. Shah, who's proven to be an election strategist, now become a bridge builder and not just a political pugilist? Strikingly, Prime Minister Modi hasn't said a word so far. He has spoken on a range of issues, from Gujarat cyclone to uniform civil code, but not a word yet on Manipur. He even shared the grief of Turkey when an earthquake hit that country. But total silence on Manipur. Surely, Mr. Prime Minister, it's time for Manipur ki baat. Think about it. As a postscript, Manipur's Chief Minister N. Biren Singh is an acknowledged national level footballer who was a member of a border security force team that won the prestigious Durand Cup in 1981. In football, there is a red card that a referee shows for foul play. I ask the question, who will show the Chief Minister a red card in politics? Think about it. That was the Straight Bat. Do of course subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind, Namaskar.